Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Safe Space with Giiiirl Graves. I am your host, Giiiirl Graves, and this is our sacred safe space that we have created to talk about all the little intricacies of life, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. So I'm all cozied up on my couch today because we're going to talk about a topic that has been on my mind lately. Friendships. Friendship breakups are the absolute worst. They're also still really hard when, you know, those friends where you kind of just like drift away from them because like you're just too different and you're on different paths. But at one point, you used to be like really aligned with each other, very similar energies, and you got along like super well. And you had in your head like, oh my God, we are going to be best friends for the rest of our lives. It hurts. It hurts when those end. I've always been the type of person that's like, oh, I'm going to have this friend for the rest of my life. But I've kind of had to come to a humbling realization that people flow in and out of your life as you change and evolve and grow. And if we don't change and evolve and grow, then what's the point of being here? You know, what's the point of being on this earth? So, as you know, I have been doing a lot of self-growth and healing in the past 3 years, even the past like 5 years, but it's really accelerated, I would say, like since last year. And ever since I started on this healing journey, I've seen a lot of my really good friends drift away. Whether it was, you know, something that one of us did that was like the final straw, where we were like, we can't be friends anymore, or whether it was kind of just like a natural drift away. It really hurts me when people leave me. In my childhood, I had a lot of people that got really close to me leave. A lot of people. The only person that didn't leave me at one point or another was my mom. It gave me a bit of abandonment issues. My dad left the family when I was about 3 years old, pretty much. And that was really hard. And my sister moved out of the house when I was about 8, I think. So it ended up just being my mom and I. And my mom, you know, would be dating guys and I would get really, really close to them and really like them and almost see them as like a father figure. And then obviously, like, you know, relationships come and go. My mom obviously didn't stay with the same boyfriend. I had to live with me feeling not good enough for people to stick around, or me feeling like I could very easily repel people and do something wrong to make them leave me. So this is like a core belief that I've realized that comes from my childhood that I have still carried on into my adulthood. This manifests a lot in relationships, whether it's romantic or friendships, especially. Because friendships, you know, you have a lot more of them. And in my opinion, they fluctuate so much. I find a lot of friends where I'm, you know, really close to them one year and I consider them my best friend. And then the next year something happens and we're not even like talking anymore. And it's been hard for me to let go of friendships when they're no longer serving me or serving either of us. And when we've just drifted away, I find it really difficult to like let that go. I keep wanting to hang out and almost like prove myself that like I am worthy of being loved and like I am worthy of someone sticking around for a long period of time. I thought that I wasn't worthy of people being my friend for a long period of time. And this is like irrational because this came from my childhood. This isn't actually a fact. And I'm really, really happy that I was able to come to that realization because it's helped me, you know, heal a lot of relationships, past and present. I had this really good friend in high school. She was my best friend, and I considered her like my chosen family. She was there for me throughout my whole coming out, discovering who I really am, and she loved me throughout all of that, whereas like my family members didn't necessarily do that at the time. So this girl was like the only person that I had that actually held space for me and didn't judge me and told me it was okay to be me. That was such a beautiful friendship. We were like literally two peas in a pod, hung out every single day. I would have sleepovers every fucking weekend at her place. And yeah, after we graduated high school and she was in college, you know, I'm not going to say exactly what happened to respect her privacy, but there were just a lot of red flags with certain people that she was hanging out with. And I was trying to tell her like, hey, this might not be a good idea. This person might not have, you know, pure intentions with you, kind of thing. I do realize I was being very pushy about it because I knew, like, I'm very, very good at sussing out people's intentions. Very, very good. And I feel like maybe I was born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like how I grew up and how I was able to keep myself safe by being really good at distinguishing people with good intentions and bad intentions. But I knew that there was a person she was hanging around that was harming her. And, you know, I tried to tell her over and over and over again, and I was being really pushy, and I honestly think that made it worse, and she pulled away from me. It just ended up being not a good dynamic. It was a little bit of a unhealthy dynamic that we had created because, you know, we were still holding on to each other so much, but at the same time, it was evident that our growing paths were separating. When we were in high school, we were learning the same lessons together. We were doing everything as a team, and it was really beautiful. When that relationship started to fizzle out, I was just like overcome with emotion and hurt and feeling like I did something to push her away. Maybe, you know, I do take responsibility if that is something that I did, but I had a lot of other friendships in those following years where, you know, we were really, really close for a period of time. And then, you know, they showed their true colors, or maybe I showed my true colors, and we just drifted. And I would be thinking about them constantly and feeling like, what did I do wrong? I've come to realize that this is life. People come and go out of our lives, you know, family members, friends, romantic relationships, and that's just nature taking its course. And we don't have to blame ourselves for what happened. You know, we can definitely learn from it, take responsibility for our actions. But at the end of the day, blaming ourselves and ruminating on the relationship lost is counterintuitive, and it's only harming you. I recently had this happen again. It seems like it just keeps happening, and it makes me feel like no one wants to be my friend because people just keep leaving. But that's just my inner child and my inner child's hurt. I know that adult Giiiirl is worthy of having wonderful friends that stick around, authentic friends who want to grow and learn with me. But my inner child was hurting. My inner child has been hurting. Me and this friend more recently, there wasn't really like a big falling out or anything. It was kind of just, she started making a lot of other friends, and I wasn't her priority anymore. And maybe she wasn't my priority anymore. And we were just learning different things on our paths and not aligning. Our energies just didn't match. They just didn't mesh and match. And it's a good idea to pay attention to how you feel when you're hanging out with a friend or whoever, a loved one. Do you come away from the experience feeling uplifted, feeling like you might have learned something from that person, they learned something from you, it was a mutual exchange of energy and a positive one? Or do you come out of that interaction feeling drained? Do you come out of that interaction feeling like it was hard to keep up the conversation? Or maybe they were talking about things that you didn't necessarily want to talk about, and, you know, maybe they were gossiping and you didn't want to gossip. Negativity is very contagious, okay? And if you are someone who is like me on a healing journey, leading with our hearts and leading with love instead of our ego, we may find that, you know, we don't really want to gossip anymore. We don't want to talk shit about other people because what's the fucking point of that? Like, the reason why people do it is to make, like, put their, you know, their egos think that they need that for validation. I'm very specific now about, you know, what kind of relationships and friendships I want to cultivate and how I want to feel when I'm with this person. And if they're putting in to the relationship as much as I'm putting into the relationship. That's a really important one too. Are we, you know, equally reaching out to hang out? Do we equally want to be in this friendship? Adult friendships are hard because you really have to put in effort and energy to see this person and to make time out of our busy schedules to cultivate this relationship. Because in school or, you know, at work, you see that person every day. So it's not hard to keep up those relationships. But when you're an adult, it is definitely harder. And I've felt that keeping friendships is a lot harder too. But I pay attention to how interacting with that other person makes me feel. Circling back, this friend recently, I realized that our energies were not vibing, to say the least. And that's okay. It's no fault of anyone that happened. It's just we're on different paths. And I was trying to like reach out to hang out, and then she would cancel, and then she would plan to hang out with me, and then I would cancel. And we kind of just kept like bailing on each other. It was very obvious once I finally like took a step back and looked at it from a bird's eye view that I realized it's not working. And it's no one's fault that it's not working. It's just not working anymore. She's not giving me what I need in this friendship, and I'm not giving her what she needs in this friendship. So after a lot of crying and just feeling like, you know, working through my abandonment issues, I have come to realize that I need to just energetically let this person go. And that doesn't mean that I won't like see her in the future, hang out with her in the future, but just holding on to kind of like what once was, holding on to the hope that she'll change or I'll change, and then we'll be at the same vibe that we were like 3 years ago. But that's not, I don't want to keep holding on to that because it was just making me frustrated. That's another thing is sometimes we can have friendships and, you know, for 1 year, 2 years, even 10 years, you were in sync. You were vibing. You know what I'm talking about when I say vibing. Like you're just bouncing off of one another. You see each other eye to eye so clearly. And then, you know, certain life situations happen and we don't necessarily see eye to eye. And sometimes we can mourn, or at least I have mourned what once was, what our friendship once was, and wanting it back. But I've realized that what makes me most at peace is to surrender, let go, and just flow with the tide of life and how life is playing out. And, you know, keep facing my true north, keep following my heart and my path and, you know, my healing journey. And I also can't force anyone to heal with me. I can't force anyone to be on this journey with me if they are not ready and willing and wanting to. And I've definitely tried to probably force that on people before because I've been like, why? I just want you to I want you to help yourself in the way that I'm helping myself so that I can help you help yourself. But we can't do that. We can't force anyone else's healing. And I have learned that we don't want to be dogmatic in our views and force them on other people because that's not loving. That's not true love. I realized that, you know, wanting someone else to change for your sake, that's not unconditional love. That's almost like conditional love. So if I really truly love this friend and love this human being, the best thing for me to do is let her be her. Not try and change her, and just let her be her and let the drift happen. And I know that by doing this, by letting go, you make it clear what kind of friendship you do want to bring into your life. That allows space. And with that, brand new space that you created by letting go, a new person might wander in when you least expect it. And they are exactly like you. And you help each other grow and whatever else you want to do in a relationship, in a friendship. Miracles can happen. People can pop into your life. Like this one friend that I have, it was really weird because I kept seeing him around the city. I kept randomly running into him on the street, on the subway, in coffee shops. I just kept seeing him everywhere. And I had just recently let go of an energetic hold on another friend, on a past friend, and I started to take it as a sign. Just with how the laws of the universe work, like our energies, our vibrations are like matching. So the universe puts us together in situations because like attracts like. I, got curious about this person, this new friend, and it turns out that we have so much in common. We're both, on this healing journey. We're both creatives and artists. And it turned out to be a really cool opportunity to make a new friend. So I leave you with this message. If a friendship or a relationship, it's just not vibing, it's just not serving you, and it's not matching your vision of how you want your life to be and how you want your relationships to be and how you want to feel, then I know it's hard. As hard as it may be, I advise you to just take a little look at that, assess that friendship, and I'm not telling you what to do, but letting go and surrender is it just feels so freeing. I was stressing myself out so much holding on to this specific friend. It was like it was consuming me. I was having dreams about it. I was having dreams about like losing her, of her drifting away and all this stuff. Once I finally just let that go, like a whole new wave of relief and peace and calm washed over me. And I allowed her to exist just the way she is. And I love her and I still love her. And it doesn't mean that, you don't love that other person anymore. It's just maybe you don't want to be in each other's lives for the time being. But who knows what can happen? Maybe in the future you'll reconnect with an old friend and, maybe you will regain that bond, or you'll find a new friend that reminds you of your relationship with that old friend. Does that happen to you ever? You make a new friend and you're like, oh my God, you have so many qualities of like, my best friend back in high school. That's so cute. I love that so much. So in a way, you never really lost that friend, back in high school. They aren't gone. Their energy still exists, and it can also exist in a lot of other people, and it can also exist in you because of maybe the things that you've learned from them and, the love and kindness that they showed you that affected you for life. So these friendships, these relationships, they're never lost. They have a permanent imprint on your soul, hopefully a good one. And just knowing that you can still have love for someone and not be in each other's lives. Wow, that felt really good to get off my chest. Wow. Oh my God. Thank you for holding space for me to talk about this right now. And I really hope that you got something out of it. Please let me know if you did. Yeah. Oh my God. I feel so much fucking better right now. You have no idea. Woo! Woo! Okay, you guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to give this podcast a good rating on whatever platform you listen to it on or YouTube. And I can't wait to talk to you in my next one.